The 1970s was an explosive decade in the world of automobiles, a time when American muscle cars ruled the streets. These cars weren't just about speed, they were an entire cultural movement. Bold, powerful, and unrelenting, they captured the spirit of freedom and rebellion that defined the era. Today, we're going to look at 10 of the most iconic muscle cars from that golden age, and why they continue to leave their mark on car culture today. These machines were the backbone of the American muscle car revolution, each one a living testament to raw power and jaw-dropping design. Let's dive in and relive the magic. 1. Dodge Challenger R/T 1970. The Dodge Challenger R/T is one of those cars that immediately takes you back to the 70s. It wasn't just a car, it was a statement. When this muscle machine roared to life, you knew something special was coming down the road. The Challenger R/T was everything you could ever want in a muscle car: power, style, and a personality that could never be ignored. It had that intimidating look with wide wheel arches and a low, aggressive profile that made it look like it was always ready to pounce. But the Challenger wasn't all looks. It could back it up with muscle. Powered by a 7-liter Hemi V8 engine, it could tear down the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds, putting it in a league of true speed demons. In a time when American cars were beginning to push limits, the Challenger was right at the front, leading the charge. Whether on the racetrack or on the streets, this car was made to make an impact. 2. Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 1970. Next up, the Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, a car so rare, it could almost be called a collector's treasure. Only 69 of these were ever built, and that exclusivity adds to its legendary status. But don't let the rarity fool you. Under the hood, the ZL1 was an absolute beast. It had a 7-liter V8 engine that produced 430 horsepower, and it could blast to a quarter mile in just over 13 seconds. For those who loved power and speed, this Camaro was everything they ever dreamed of. Its design was no less intimidating. The ZL1 came with an aggressive stance that screamed, "I mean business." This wasn't just a car for cruising, it was made to own the racetrack and look incredible doing it. The ZL1 was everything enthusiasts loved about muscle cars, all packed into one sleek, powerful package. 3. Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird 1970. Imagine a car that looked like it belonged in space. That's the Plymouth Roadrunner Superbird, a machine that looked almost too futuristic for its time. But it wasn't just about wild design. The Superbird was built to be fast. With its massive rear wing designed to provide insane downforce at high speeds, it looked like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. Yet, when it hit the track, it performed like an absolute champion. Equipped with a 7-liter Hemi engine, the Superbird could fly through the quarter mile in just 13 seconds. It wasn't just fast, it had the kind of unique design that turned heads no matter where it went. If you saw the Superbird on the road, you didn't just notice it, you couldn't take your eyes off of it. It was bold, it was loud, and it was fast. 4. Ford Mustang Boss 429 1970. The Ford Mustang Boss 429 was a car made for one purpose: to win. With its 7-liter V8 engine cranking out over 375 horsepower, the Boss 429 wasn't just about looking cool, it was about dominating the competition. This car wasn't afraid to step into the spotlight and make its presence known, both on the racetrack and in the streets. It could easily rip through the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds, but more than that, it was a car that felt like it was always ready for the next challenge. But the Mustang Boss 429 wasn't just a racer, it was a Mustang through and through. It carried the legendary pony car heritage while adding even more power to the mix. Sleek, stylish, and powerful, the Boss 429 was a car that could conquer any road it touched. It was a true reflection of the era's love for raw speed and performance. 5. Chevrolet Corvette L88 1969 to 1971. The Chevrolet Corvette L88 was the epitome of performance. If you wanted to be at the top of the food chain, this was the car to do it with. The Corvette L88 had everything: a jaw-dropping 7-liter V8 engine with 430 horsepower and a reputation for ripping through the quarter mile in just 12.5 seconds. It wasn't just fast, it was a car that made every inch of road feel like a racetrack. The Corvette L88 wasn't just a car, it was an icon. Its low, wide stance and aggressive lines made it instantly recognizable, and it was a car that delivered on every level. Whether on the racetrack or cruising down the highway, this Corvette was built to stand out and set a new standard for performance. It's no wonder it became a legend. 6. Pontiac GTO Judge 1970. The Pontiac GTO Judge was a car that truly lived up to its name. The Judge wasn't here to play games. With its bold design, it had the kind of attitude that made it stand out from the crowd. The GTO Judge was equipped with a 7.5-liter V8 engine cranking out 360 horsepower, and it could rip through the quarter mile in 13.5 seconds. But it wasn't just about power. The GTO Judge was designed to be flashy, too. With its bright colors and aggressive styling, it wasn't afraid to show off. This was the car for the person who didn't want to blend zoomed in. The judge had everything: the looks, the power, and the attitude to make sure everyone knew who was in charge. The Pontiac GTO judge was an icon of speed, power, and style. 7. Buick GSX, 1970. The Buick GSX was a car that didn't get as much attention as some of the other muscle cars of the time, but it was a true powerhouse. With its 7.5-liter V8 engine, it packed 510 horsepower and could storm through the quarter-mile in 13.4 seconds. But what really set the GSX apart wasn't just its power, it was the combination of muscle and refinement. Buick took the idea of the muscle car and gave it a touch of class, creating a car that was both stylish and quick. The GSX was built for those who wanted to stand out without shouting for attention. It had the kind of design that made you look twice, and the kind of speed that left everyone else in the dust. If you wanted something that could do it all, the Buick GSX was the answer. 8. AMC Javelin AMX, 1970. The AMC Javelin AMX might not have had the same level of fame as some of its competitors, but that didn't make it any less impressive. This car had a 6.4-liter V8 engine that could throw down 325 horsepower, and it could race through the quarter-mile in just 13.7 seconds. It wasn't the biggest or the fastest, but the Javelin AMX had a certain charm about it. It was a little more compact, a little more subtle, but still packed with power and performance. The Javelin AMX was the underdog of muscle cars, quiet, unassuming, but fast when it needed to be. If you were behind the wheel of an AMX, you knew you were driving something special, even if the world didn't always recognize it. 9. Chrysler 300 Hurst, 1970. The Chrysler 300 Hurst was a limited edition muscle car that combined luxury with power. With its 7-liter engine and 390 horsepower, it could cruise down the quarter-mile in just 13.6 seconds. But what really made the Chrysler 300 Hurst stand out was its mix of elegance and speed. It was a car for someone who didn't want to compromise, someone who wanted the thrill of a muscle car with the comfort and style of a luxury vehicle. The Chrysler 300 Hurst wasn't just fast, it was refined. It was the car for those who wanted to turn heads and leave a lasting impression, whether they were on the track or cruising through town. 10. Dodge Charger R/T, 1970. Finally, we have the Dodge Charger R/T, the big brother of American muscle cars. The Charger R/T wasn't just fast, it was a powerhouse. With its 426 Hemi V8 engine and 425 horsepower, the Charger could tear down the quarter-mile in just 13 seconds. But the Charger R/T wasn't just about speed, it was about presence. Its aggressive styling with a low profile and wide stance made it impossible to miss. It was the kind of car that made you feel like you were driving a legend. The Dodge Charger R/T was more than just a muscle car, it was a symbol of everything that made the 70s so special. Power, performance, and a look that could intimidate even the toughest competition. Conclusion: these cars weren't just machines, they were the soul of 70s America. Each of these muscle cars captured the essence of the time: raw, untamed power combined with bold designs and a spirit of rebellion. They were more than just vehicles, they were symbols of freedom, speed, and the endless pursuit of performance. Even today, these cars continue to inspire and captivate car enthusiasts around the world. The legends of the 1970s are far from forgotten. They've become timeless icons that remind us of a time when speed and style ruled the road. Which of these legendary muscle cars would you love to drive? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into automotive history.